So the next thing that we're going to be talking about are minerals. So we don't essentially manufacture minerals in our body. We get them from our diet. So it's very important that we ingest them on a daily basis. So the minerals, as I mentioned earlier in our presentation, they come from rocks, soil, and water, and they're absorbed into the plants as they grow or if they're consumed by animals. So fresh fruits aren't our only source of dietary minerals. However, some processed foods like the enriched breakfast cereals or some fortified rice, bread, pasta, you'll be able to find some minerals through that way as well. Again, we don't get them essentially from our diet. They do come from this earth, from the soil, and they're absorbed into the plants as they grow or if they're ingested by an animal. So we have two types of essential minerals. We have major minerals, which are our macro minerals. We need large quantities of them on a daily basis, or the trace minerals, which we need in smaller quantities. They're just as important as the macro, but we don't need as much quantities of them on a daily basis. And again, we'll be talking about a few important ones in the next upcoming slides. So we have calcium, which we know is responsible for blood clotting, bone and teeth formation, construction, relaxation of blood vessels. It has a lot of functions that we need. So when we think of calcium, we usually think about dairy products, no? So what we have here on the slide are other food sources that contain rich amounts of calcium. So it can be found in salmon and sardines, as we mentioned before, the dairy products, or some fortified plant-based beverages such as soy milk, almond milk, or rice milk, the fortified cereals, your dark green leafy vegetables, or tofu. So a calcium deficiency is known as hypocalcemia, which is when the blood has low levels of calcium. And a long-term calcium deficiency can lead to dental changes, cataracts, or alterations in the brain, and some osteoporosis. We know as the older that we get, our bones do weaken. So we want to make sure that we're getting a good amount of calcium on a daily basis. The next mineral that we're going to be talking about is chromium. So you only need a small amount of this mineral. So therefore, it's known as a trace mineral. Calcium would be considered your macro mineral. We do need a good amount of that. So chromium helps keep your blood sugar at steady levels. So again, if you're diabetic, you want to make sure that you're getting a good amount of chromium on a daily basis. So it's found in foods like broccoli, fruits such as apples and bananas, your lean meats, some spices such as garlic and basil, turkey, and whole grains. So again, adding a good amount of chromium of this mineral into your diet is going to help keep your blood sugars level and steady. So lack of chromium may affect glucose uptake into cells. Again, remember, chromium helps keep your blood sugar levels, so a deficiency of it can affect that. So the next mineral that we're going to be talking about is iodine. And so with iodine, your thyroid uses a good amount of it to help make hormones that control metabolism, which we know is very important in helping regulate our weight. So good sources of iodine is found in breads, in cereals, dairy products, iodized salt, potatoes, seafood, seaweed, and turkey. So again, we want to make sure that we're getting a good amount of this on a daily basis. Think about maybe switching up your salt usage to something that's iodized if you have a deficiency in iodine to help you get a little bit more throughout the day. So some symptoms of iodine deficiency include goiter, which is a bulge in the neck. Remember, your thyroid is very important for iodine usage because, again, it helps make those hormones that control metabolism. So some fatigue and constipation are other symptoms, or sensitivity to cold temperatures can occur. The next mineral that we're going to be talking about, which gets a lot of attention, is iron. So we know that iron is very, very important for our immune function, for development, for red blood cell formation, reproduction, and wound healing. So again, if you're anemic, iron is something that you want to make sure that you have enough of throughout the day. So when your iron levels are low, your body doesn't make enough healthy red blood cells. And without them, again, we know the red blood cells carry oxygen to your tissues, your muscles, and other organs. So again, it's very important that we get a good amount of iron throughout the day. Especially for women who are pregnant or have heavy menstrual cycles, iron is something that you want to make sure you have a little bit more of throughout that time. So where is iron found? It's found in a lot of food sources, in beans, lentils, eggs, raisins, prunes, green vegetables. Again, those green vegetables are a superfood. You can find them in some fortified breads, cereals, pasta, and rice. You can find them in some seafood, tofu, or other whole grains. So again, great way to get a good amount of iron throughout the day is just having a great, well-balanced diet. Lean meats, dark green leafy vegetables, and some whole grains or lentils, great way to add some iron throughout the day. And again, we want to make sure that we're getting enough iron throughout the day because we don't want to have any iron deficiency, which can cause anemia. Again, we know that those red blood cells play an important role in helping regulate main functions throughout the body. So we want to make sure that we're getting a good amount on a daily basis. So the next mineral that we have here is magnesium. So magnesium plays a role in making sure that your muscles squeeze and they keep your heart beating. And it also helps control blood sugar and blood pressure. It makes proteins, it makes DNA, and it helps turn your food into energy. So it plays a vital role in our bodily functions. You can get magnesium from almonds, cashews, spinach, soybeans, avocado, and whole grains. So again, it contains a good amount of food sources where you'll be able to find them in. So one of the first signs of magnesium deficiency is often fatigue. And as you can see with a lot of these vitamins and minerals, a common symptom of deficiency is fatigue. So if you are feeling, a little sluggish, fatiguish, go ahead and speak with your physician about maybe seeing if you're deficient in some of these vitamins or minerals. So manganese. Manganese is responsible for carbohydrate, protein, and cholesterol metabolism. Again, it helps making sure that it converts those nutrients to help control the metabolism. And again, manganese is found in some beans, in some lentils, nuts, pineapple, spinach, sweet potato, and whole grains. Sweet potato is coming into season, so having a good amount of those on a daily basis is a great way to ensure that you're getting enough manganese throughout the day. Some deficiency symptoms include poor bone growth or skeletal formation, some defects or slowed impaired growth, and low fertility. So again, we want to make sure that we're getting a good amount of manganese throughout the day. We're going to be talking about some phosphorus too, which is responsible for acid-base balance, bone formation, energy production, storage, and hormone activation. So again, as you can see, a lot of these vitamins and minerals do work together to play out important functions in our bodies. So phosphorus is found in beans, lentils, and peas. As you can see with the minerals, a good source that has a good amount of them are lentils. So that's a great way to add them throughout your diet. Some lean meats, nuts, and seeds, some poultry products, and some enriched grain products as well. So symptoms of phosphorus deficiency include a loss of appetite, anxiety, bone pain, some fatigue, stiff joints, irregular breathing, irritability, numbness, weakness. As you can see, there's a lot of symptoms there. And in children, it's a decreased growth or poor bone and tooth development may occur. So again, for different populations, they do need different amounts of these vitamins and minerals on a daily basis. So what we'll have at the end of the presentation, which I'll put in the chat, is a list of all of these vitamins and minerals along with the amount that you should be having on a daily basis. However, adolescents, infants, the elderly population, and pregnant or lactating women do need different amounts. So potassium. So when we think of potassium, we think about bananas, right? But your dark green leafy vegetables are a better source of this mineral. Again, dark green leafy vegetables seem to be a superfood. And what potassium does, it helps keep your blood pressure in a normal range, and it helps keep your kidneys working as well. So levels that are too low or too high can make your heart and nervous system shut down. So you do want to be careful with the amounts that you're having. You should also watch your salt intake because your body needs the right balance of sodium and potassium. So some good sources to snack on would be, raw cantaloupe, carrots, or some raw tomatoes as well. But as you can see on the slide, there's other sources that you'll be able to find potassium in. So potassium deficiency or hypokalemia can result in medical conditions like high blood pressure. Again, potassium is important in helping regulating your blood pressure and keeping it in a normal range. Some constipation, muscle weakness, and again, fatigue. So selenium is an antioxidant and is responsible for, immune function, reproduction, and thyroid function. Most Americans can get enough from what they eat, of this mineral and eggs, enriched pasta, seeds, poultry, and seafood, and whole grains. So again, as you can see, common food sources that you'll find throughout the presentation that we talked about, whether it was your dark green leafy vegetables, your lentils, your whole grains, or your lean meats, those foods do contain a good amount of vitamins and minerals. So good sources to add to your daily meal plan. And so selenium deficiency symptoms include infertility in both men and women, muscle weakness, fatigue, mental fog, hair loss, or a weakened immune system. So sodium is responsible for acid-base balance. Again, remember when we spoke about potassium, that your body needs the right amount of balance from sodium and potassium. So again, important in that acid-base balance. It helps regulate your blood pressure, fluid balance, muscle contraction, and nervous system function. Again, we also want to make sure that we're being mindful of our sodium intake because too much can increase our blood pressure. So hyponatremia is a condition in which the body holds on too much water. So this dilutes the amount of sodium in the blood and causes levels to be low. So symptoms can include nausea, a headache, constipation, and that old fatigue. So we want to make sure that we're being mindful of our sodium amounts. Anything more than 2,000 milligrams throughout the day is considered a lot. If you're someone with high blood pressure, you do need smaller amounts. So again, making sure that you're reading the back of the labels, especially with processed foods, which tend to have a good amount of sodium. Read those labels to make sure that you're not getting too much. So zinc is responsible for growth and development, immune function. As you see, it has a lot of functions that it does in our body. It also helps taste and smell and wound healing. And where is it found? Again, you can find it in those lentils. You can find it in peas, beef, dairy products, or those fortified cereals. So if you're not getting enough zinc in your diet, you may have side effects such as hair loss, a lack of alertness or focus, or reduced sense of taste and smell. Even though if you've had COVID, this could have been something that could have been maybe a zinc deficiency, but we don't know, right? So what about supplements? Now, this is a question that we get on a daily basis. So multivitamins, whether you take them in a supplement form, in a capsule form, they're not a one-way ticket for optimal health. In fact, evidence shows that they improve health for most people is inconsistent, meaning there's no consistent data out there that says taking multivitamins on a daily basis is going to improve your health. In some cases, it may even harm them. So if you're thinking about supplementing with multivitamins, do speak with your physician ahead of time. Or if you have a nutrient deficiency, it's best to supplement with that specific nutrient. Meaning if you have a zinc deficiency or selenium deficiency or a vitamin A deficiency, you want to find food sources that have high amounts of those vitamins or minerals to supplement your deficiency. So multivitamins do pack a lot of nutrients, but most of them you don't really need. So as I mentioned before, if you're interested about supplementing with multivitamins, it's best to speak with your healthcare provider or with your physician to figure out the best course of action. So additionally, it's best if you don't take a multivitamin to compensate for a poor diet. So say if you have a diet that's heavy in processed foods and you're taking a multivitamin just to help you get enough nutrients or vitamins throughout the day, it's better to have a balanced diet of fresh whole foods that are much more likely to ensure good health. So example, having a diet fresh in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, maybe some lentils, lean meats are the best way to help you get the nutrients and vitamins that we just discussed about.